Hi, good morning. We'll start now.
Morning.
Morning. We have completed stakeholder engagement as well as communication management, right? These two processes completed, plus develop project charter. Is it right? Stakeholder engagement and communication management we have completed before. Answer.
Option D.
D. A new project stakeholder is identified who has interest in but little authority or influence on the project. How should the project manager handle this stakeholder? Okay. What is the tool you will use to compare power and interest? Can you tell me the name of the tool? We have studied stakeholder mapping. In that stakeholder mapping, we have studied many tools. Which tool you will use to compare the power and interest? Okay. See, Mike, you are not new batch, right? You are old batch only, right? Already we have started this batch.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We must have completed stakeholder engagement as well as communication we finished. So what is the tool you are using it? Stakeholder cube, stakeholder grid, salience model. Have you heard about it? So this one, comparing power and interest. Stakeholder cube, comparing three attributes. Salience model, comparing power, urgency as well as legitimacy. So hope you can recall. So which tool? Have you studied the slides? Because see, every class you study the slides. That is very important. Comparing power and interest. A new stakeholder is identified who has interest in but little authority. Little authority. Who has more power and little authority means he is a team member. He is a team member. How should the project manager handle? We need to provide proper information as needed.
Option B, negotiated additional time to complete the project.
An intern is replacing a critical resource midway through a sprint. To help the intern get up to speed, the project manager assigns a senior engineer in the team as a team's mentor. 2 months later, the project goes into critical status, delaying the release milestone by a month. 2 months later, the project goes into critical status, delaying the release milestone by a month. So what should the project manager have done to avoid this scenario? To avoid this scenario, convince the critical resource to remain on the project, negotiated additional time to complete the project, requested an experienced resources and replacement, allocated additional time for mentoring, right? So within a sprint, what will happen? Like you need to complete the sprint at any cost on a planned time. You cannot delay it. So if a sprint is getting delayed, your entire release will be delayed. Your entire project will be delayed. So in this case, convince the critical resource to remain on the project. So because an intern is replacing a critical resource midway through a sprint. Right? Negotiated additional time to complete the project. I think that is not possible.
Okay.
What should the project manager have done to avoid this scenario? It is about the preventive action. When you read a question, always, most of the questions it will ask you, what are all preventive action we need to take it? What are all corrective action we need to take it? What you should have done it before or what is next, right? One is a preventive, another one is a corrective. Requested an experienced resource as a replacement. That is also possible. So we will go to, what is your answer?
I can go for C.
C.
Additional experience resources. Option A, set up a weekly meeting between the teams to monitor each other's work.
A project schedule requires that two teams work simultaneously on a separate parts of a complex project. The two parts of the project are dependent on each other. The project manager needs to ensure that there are no conflicts when the output from the two teams are combined. So what should the project manager do to manage any potential conflicts first? Set up a weekly meeting between the teams to monitor each other works possible. Prioritize conflict resolution for the part of the project that is on the critical path. Review the lessons and register to anticipate potential conflict and plan the resolution. What should the project manager do to manage any potential conflicts first? Potential conflict first. Engage project stakeholder to ensure the support through any conflict as they arise. Right? How do you manage the conflict? Set up a weekly meeting between the team to monitor each other's work. The project schedule requires that two teams work simultaneously on a separate parts of a complex project. Prioritize conflict resolution for the part of the project that is on the critical path. Review the lessons learned, register to anticipate potential conflict, and then plan the resolutions. So we can go to A, or if we can go to C also possible.
Implement a formal mentoring program with structured goals and regular meetings.
A project manager recognizes the need to improve team dynamics and knowledge sharing during a mega project. Improve on dynamics and team dynamics and knowledge sharing during a mega project. What should the project manager do? Conduct knowledge sharing sessions where experienced team members present their expertise. Assign junior team members tasks that push their skill level and offer minimal support. Implement a formal mentoring program with the structured goals and regular meetings, and facilitate open team meetings to identify and address individual challenges and concerns. So now B can be eliminated here. Assign junior team members tasks that to push their skills level and offer minimal support. Team dynamics and knowledge sharing during a mega project. Conduct a knowledge sharing sessions where experienced team members present their expertise. What about junior team members? So they also will be having some lessons, right? Implement a formal mentoring program with the structured goals and regular meetings. Facilitate open team discussion to identify and address individual challenges and concerns. So C and D is possible. What is your answer? So
I'll
here,
go for C.
C, B, here B can be eliminated. We see what is answer. D.
D. Okay. Facilitate to open discussion.
Open team discussions instead of formal mentoring program. Mentoring program means, like, for example, it is a one side view. Open discussion, everyone has can raise their voice.
Understood. Option A.
Option A. A key stakeholder refuses to sign off on product because it does not meet the expectation outlined in the project scope. What should the project manager have done? So we can go to A. Because here remaining three, it is the eliminations. So whenever you read the question, find out the keyword, then go for elimination immediately. So the elimination will help you find out which options can be eliminated.
Option C. The project sponsor can request for change control board and make a changes in the stakeholder panel.
The project sponsor is an external authority of the project. Whatever happens within the project, it is a responsibility of project manager. Project sponsor will provide you resources, directions, advice, external support, ensure that project is running. Those things under project sponsor responsibility. We will see. A project manager is developing a project charter, but a key stakeholder is failing to provide information about the expected project benefits. Why should the project manager meet with the project sponsor about this issue? First of all, where are you now? You are in initiation, project initiation. So during project initiation, what was our first process? We will initiate a project, initiate a project or phase. That is the first process we will do. Result of this process is project charter as well as assumption log. When change control board will come into the picture during execution. During execution, any changes are coming to project constraints. So what are all project constraints? Scope, schedule, and cost. Resources, quality, and risk. If any changes are coming to the 6 related to policy, processes, procedures, tools and techniques, methodologies, right? Any changes are coming, then we need to go through the change control board. Again, it is a responsibility of project manager to solve any problem within the project, not project sponsor. So you are in initiation, you are developing a project charter, the project not yet started, project not yet initiated, you are in the initiation process only. So in this case, option C, I will remove it. Project sponsor is a key person responsible for managing both the tacit as well as explicit project knowledge. That is also wrong. When we take lessons learned, we take lessons learned from throughout the project, not at the end of the project, not at the beginning of the project. Throughout the project, we need to collect the lessons learned from beginning to end. Who are all responsible? Everyone is responsible to provide the knowledge. Everyone is responsible to share the knowledge. So maybe internal stakeholders or external stakeholders, whoever you think that they have some lessons, you can contact them, you can collect the lessons. Those knowledge can be two types. One is tacit, another one is explicit. These are all we will study, okay? But anyway, we have a question, I'm explaining. Tacit as well as explicit. What is explicit? Like, let's say, for example, you are asking someone to write a feedback about the company during exit interview. So the person will take a paper and he will record his feedback. That's called explicit. Something can be documented directly. And tacit, something it is not possible to document directly, that is kind of a non-verbal communication tools, like a body language, his smile, right? So you are noticing it, observation and conversation. Through observation and conversation, you find some information. Those information you need to interpret as well as document it. Directly, you cannot document it. That's called tacit knowledge. So option A also removed because project sponsor is a key person responsible. No, everyone is responsible. Project sponsor is a party who can address internal political and strategic issues that can affect project quality. Okay, disciplinary action regarding stakeholders are managed by the project sponsor. So now, project sponsor can request the change control board make a change in the stakeholder community. No, C is removed. The key stakeholder is failing to provide information about the expected project benefits. Expected project benefits. What should the project manager meet with the project sponsor with this issue? The key stakeholders for a kind of a customers or client, they are out of control of project manager. Project sponsor is a party who can address internal political as well as strategic issue that can affect project quality. So either we can go to B. We'll see.
Can you go back to the previous slide? I just want to read the explanation.
Explanation, 1 second.
Okay, sir. Option D, by identifying the local parties as a stakeholder, they would have been included in relevant communications. Get it approval.
Which one?
Option D.
D. While executing a project that is nearly behind schedule, a project manager must commission a new piece of equipment. Two local parties who will be impacted by the commission ask that project to be stopped immediately because they were not given an opportunity to provide project approval to local parties. How would implementing a stakeholder engagement plan have helped the project manager to avoid this situation? So what is the purpose of stakeholder engagement plan? We will identify a stakeholder, analyze the stakeholder, understand the needs and expectations, right? Understand the stakes, understand their attributes, power, interest, influence. Then based on that, we develop a stakeholder engagement strategy and we will document the engagement levels, required engagement levels, desired engagement levels. So it will help us to engage the stakeholder appropriately. By identifying the local parties as a stakeholder, they would have been included in relevant communications. By understanding the local parties' expectation, the project manager would have used appropriate negotiating technique to engage them. Including local parties in the plan would have ensured that sign-off and approval of the project charter. Sign-off and approval of the project charter. By using the conflict management technique described in the plan, the project manager could have got an approval from the local parties. Right. So now two parties will be impacted by the commission ask the project manager to stop immediately because they were not given an opportunity to provide project approval. So in this case, B also possible, including the local parties in the plan, would have ensured the sign off and approval of the project charter. But basically project charter will be approved by the project sponsor, but they are local parties. Local party, who's that local parties? While executing a project that is nearly behind schedule, a project manager must commission a new piece of equipment to local parties. Okay, because the here problem is this particular two local parties must have not identified, right? That was the issue. By understanding local parties' experience, the project manager would be used appropriately. So B and D. B and D we can go, including the relevant communication. That is also possible because relevant communication means like when the project is approved, they must have come to know about it. Because approval of the project charter will be done by project sponsor.
Option D, keep informed.
The project manager compiling a list of project stakeholder discovers an interested stakeholder with little no authority, keep informing them. It is a team members basically, right? Yeah. So who will keep satisfied? Who has a high power and low of the interest? Who will be managed closely? High power and high interest. Who will be monitored? Low power, low interest. That Steve, please study communication management and stakeholder engagement. Please study the slides.
Option B, explain to the stakeholder the difference among the tasks assigned to each project team.
A project stakeholder has been missing scheduled facilitation workshop and has delegated assigned task to another member of the stakeholder community. A project stakeholder has been missing stakeholder facilitation workshop and has delegated assigned task to another member of the stakeholder community. What should the project manager do to engage the stakeholder? Right? There is some issue. Review with the stakeholder roles and responsibility of everyone involved in the specified in the project charter. Review with the stakeholder the roles and responsibility of everyone involved as specified in the project charter. Explain to the stakeholder of the differences among the tasks assigned to each project team member. Ask the project manager to brief the stakeholder and require the stakeholder attendance at all relevant meetings. Pair the stakeholder with a more experienced team member who can act as a mentor. So what is your answer? What is your answer?
So we can go for B, sir.
B, explain the stakeholder the differences among the tasks assigned to each project team member.
Yes.
What should the project manager do to engage the stakeholder? Right? The project manager has been missing the scheduled facilitation workshop and has delegated assigned task because he is not understanding is important in the project. He is not aware of the importance, his role actually. So review with the stakeholder the roles and responsibility of everyone involved as specified in the project charter. Yes, project charter we may document. The key stakeholder roles and responsibility we will document. And explain the stakeholder the differences among the tasks assigned to each project team member. Okay. But each project team member, but here member of the stakeholder community. Ask the program manager. So that is C is removed. Pair the stakeholder with them. So either A or B. Please mute your mic. So it should be A. So you should make him aware of his roles and responsibility. And the project team member, please remember, that is a keyword actually, elimination actually. But we are talking about stakeholder community. Stakeholder community means the key stakeholders, high-level stakeholders, not project team members.
Option C, stakeholder engagement plan.
A new project manager joins a project during the delivery of a critical milestone. The project has multiple stakeholders and each has different level of interest. The project manager needs to determine how much detail to provide to the stakeholder about the delivery. The project manager needs to determine which document should the project manager refers to. Communication management plan, stakeholder register, stakeholder engagement plan, project management plan. The project manager needs to determine how much detail to provide. So stakeholder engagement. So what information we need to provide to the stakeholder? So those informations. Okay, so we take a break. So we'll start at 9:30. We will start with the scope management. See your communication management and stakeholder engagement. So almost 7 processes and initiate a project or phase 8. So total 8 processes already we have completed. Please study. So now today we will start with the scope management and quality management. Scope management and quality management means almost it will come around 9 processes we'll discuss. So take a break. 9:30 will start. Okay, we'll start now. So next we are going to study the project scope management we are going to study. So project scope management. Project scope management processes. First one is we have plan scope management. Then collect requirements, define scope, create WBS, and control scope as well as validate scope. So these are all processes we need to study. So the quality always, which is going to influence the scope, what type of deliverable we will produce it. So here we will need to study the quality management processes also incorporated into quality, into scope. Quality management processes. In quality management processes, we have plant quality management. Plant quality management. So next one, manage quality and control quality. So these three processes. So total 7 processes we'll study. So first one we'll go for plant quality management. The first process, plant quality management. Okay, sorry, plant scope management. First process, plant scope management we'll study. See, in the output of this process is scope management plan, and a requirement management plan. So there is a 2 output we have it. The output of this process, scope management plan as well as requirements management plan, we have 2 processes, 2 output we have it. So first one, we'll study what is called scope management plan. Scope management. So what is the scope management plan? So scope management plan, it is one of the project management plan component. So finally, when we release the project management plan, scope management plan also part of it. So this is subsidiary plan because each performance domain will be having a management plan. It is called subsidiary plan. Subsidiary plan. What is the purpose of this plan? Which will provide guidance and direction to define scope, create WPS, control scope, and validate scope. So that is what the scope management plan will give you the information, which is going to provide a guidance and direction to define scope, create WBS, control scope as well as validate scope. Validate scope. So defines how the scope are described. Describe how the scope will be defined, right? Validated, right? Validated as well as controlled throughout the project. Throughout the project. So basically, it is a guidance. It is going to guidance. So it is going to establish the criteria, the project boundary and everything. So establishes criteria. Right. It can be formal or informal. It can be formal or informal, or maybe broadly framed or highly detailed. Based on the needs of the project, we will do it. So this will helps to avoid scope creep and gold plating. And gold plating. So scope creep as well as gold plating. So now, what is called scope creep? What is called scope creep? So the scope creep is nothing but uncontrolled changes. Uncontrolled changes without going through change control process. So that's called scope creep. Uncontrolled changes. So without going through the change control process. Customer try to get extra without paying additional cost or time. That's called scope creep. That's called scope creep. Uncontrolled changes without going through the change control process means like no documentation will be there, no traceability will be there. Customer try to get extra without paying additional time and additional cost. Right. So changes within the approved scope. Sorry. So not outside the scope, within the approved scope. It may impact the baselines, because at the beginning we may go for like a without change request, we may accept small without change control process, we may accept small changes. The small changes may impact the project in future. Next one is gold plating. So what is gold plating? Gold plating also uncontrolled changes without going through the change control process. So sometimes outside the scope also changes will come. Sometimes outside the scope also changes will come. Right. So what is the cause of this gold plating? The team tried to do extra to please the customer, or hide mistakes. It may not impact the baselines, because it is coming from the team members. They will spend from their own pocket, they will spend it. So any question about this gold plating as well as scope creep, both should be avoided. So please remember, both should be avoided. Both are not recommended. Not a professional practice. Not a professional practice. Any question? Is it clear or not clear?
Sir, can you please explain with the example for the scope creep and the gold plating?
See, scope creep, normally it will happen in your project. Let's say, for example, you have a particular, like say component, like kind of a lighting system, which was originally approved and signed by the customer. During the execution, customer may come and ask you to change the lighting systems. As per the scope, we have a lighting system, but now he's asking some kind of advanced light or something. So which may give you extra cost or the extra time actually. The customer will push you to accept it. So that's called scope creep. It's clear? Huh? Did you understand?
Yeah.
Our customer always will come up with the small changes, but not outside the scope, within the scope only, but not outside the scope. He will try to convince you, like even if the cost is coming more also, you cannot be able to ask him. So, but where you are going to spend this money from your baseline only you are going to spend. So it may give you the cost over, like over budget as well as behind schedule situation it will create.
So if in this case, if it goes on the losses, how can we manage?
That is what the project manager has to have a interpersonal skills, how to avoid that particular situation actually. It will definitely impact your profit margin, but your management will be having some management reserve, this type of situation, all right? So always they will, like, for example, 100,000 dirhams is the project cost, but always they will keep it 110,000 dirhams, they will keep it actually. Those 10,000 dirhams, we will use it for unexpected situation like that. But again, it is a project manager responsibility to manage this type of changes, convincing the customer. It is your skills only. As per the book, as per the rule, you cannot go through this.
Example for gold plating, sir?
Gold plating, like for example, let's say, for example, we have a ventilation system. So we have filters, right? Originally, it is not there actually. There is no filters in our scope. But the team members, they may install the filter, MERV filter, they will install it. They will, because they want to please the customer. The customer may give another business. This is outside the scope. Originally, the filter is not there actually. But we will implement filter. We will implement filter because why? We need to please the customer. Or maybe we have that did some mistake. To hide the mistake, we do something actually. We may create some extra structure to hide the mistakes. But those money will come from the management side only, not from the project. That's called gold plating. Gold plating means you're doing extra out of the scope. Is it clear now? Gold plating and scope creep?
Yeah, clear.
See, as a project manager, like for example, if you see anything, such kind of things, immediately you need to remove it from the product. Either scope creep also, you need to stop it. Gold plating also, you need to stop it. For example, maybe like sometimes what will happen, maybe the team member may be having some collusion with the customer. The team member, he himself, he will do some extra work for the customer. There is some favor actually. right? So that is also project manager responsibility to notice it. Okay, so next one, we will study the requirements management plan. Requirements management plan. So requirement management plan also, it's a project management plan component. It's a subsidiary plan. So this also, which is going to provide a guidance and direction for how do we collect the requirement, right? How requirements will be elicited, provides guidance and direction to elicit, analyze, prioritize, rank, document, and track requirements. So that's called provided guidance and direction to elicit, analyze, or prioritize, rank, or document requirements. What is the meaning of requirement? So the requirements are going to be condition or capability, right? Condition or capability of a product. Condition or capability of a product, or maybe a project. So who will provide the requirements? The stakeholders will provide the requirements. The stakeholder will provide the requirements actually. It is also known as the business analysis plan. It is also known as a business analysis plan. Business analysis plan. It's a project management plan component. It is a subsidiary plan. Provide guidance and direction to elicit, analyze, prioritize, rank, document, track requirement, also known as a business analysis plan. The requirements are going to be condition or capability of a product as well as project. Right? So requirement management plan, which is going to give you the guidance, like especially configuration management activity, right? Requirement management plan will give you the configuration management activity. Configuration management activities. So what is configuration management basically? So configuration management, like for example, you are going to provide details about like each deliverable, what is the version number, deliverable name, right? When it is created, is there any changes when it is modified? Who has authorized the modification? Those information, we call them as a configuration management activity or configuration management component. Right? So whenever you produce a document, always you will assign a name for it. Or name, artifact name, or deliverable name, version number, date created, owner of the document or owner of the deliverable, and changes. So those information we will say it is a configuration management. Because configuration management, why we need it? It is going to control the changes. You must be head about your head in your company. Control the document. What is the meaning of control the document? Right? The controlled documents are going to be like, for example, what are the documents? We need to take approval before changing anything in the document. That's called controlled document. Correct? So that's called configuration management. Okay. So this is going to document how changes will be processed. How changes will be processed. So how do we process the change? So raise change request. Raise change request whenever we have a changes. So anyone can request a change. Anyone can request a change. So the change may impact plan, policy, processes, procedures, deliverables, methodology, tools, and techniques. What is the meaning? If any changes are coming to these items, we need to go through the change control processes. Raise change control. Anyone can request a change. Change may impact plan, policy, processes, procedures, right? And deliverables, methodology, tools, and techniques. So next, what is it? So perform impact analysis. Impact analysis, right? So what is that impact analysis? How it will impact the project constraints. Project constraints. What are all project constraints? Scope, schedule, cost, resources, risk, and quality. Please ensure that. So every constraint is analyzed, not only one or few. Whenever there is a changes are coming, we need to analyze the impact on each constraint. Each constraint, we need to analyze it. Right? How it will impact the project constraints. So next one is develop options to address the change. Develop the options. Then discuss the options and get the approval from project sponsor. Get approval from project sponsor. Right. Discuss the option and get approval from project sponsor. So next, submit the change request. Change request to change control. Change control. So now the change control board, who are all the members of the change control board? Change management plan will define who are all going to be members of the change control board. What are the rules and responsibility? It will be documented in change management plan. So change control board will review the change. Right? So either they approve or reject or maybe postpone the decision. So those information we will document in change log. Please remember, change log is a change tracking tool. Change log is going to be a change tracking tool. So there is a two documents we need to remember it. One is a change request. Any stakeholder may request a change. Another one is change log. Change log, like which is going to document all the changes in your project. If you are joining in between as a project manager, which was the one of the few documents which we need to review first, change log, because which will give you the details about the project as well as health of the project. If your project is going through a lot of changes, there will be like issues and problems are there in the project. We need to notice it. So change log will give you the complete information about the submitted change request. If approved, change the necessary plans and communicate the approvals to the relevant stakeholders, then implement the change and update the impact in relevant plans and documents. So please remember, this information is very important for us. Whenever you are reading a question, examination question related to change, go through the steps. The steps are very important. Right? First of all, you need to find out, as per the question, in which step you are in. What is next? What is before? So you should know about it. So any question related to changes, right? These steps only will help you. Around 15 to 20 questions, easily you will answer from these steps. Don't forget. No need to memorize it. Go step by step. What is next? What is next? What is next? How do we process the change? Once again. Yeah, the steps, please remember it. Any question you have it? Is it clear? Anyone has a question? Or it is clear, very clear? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sir, clear, sir.
Okay. So when we say change request, so what are the types of change request? So one is preventive action. Next one is corrective action. Third one is going to be defect repair. So these three changes, we will do it. These three changes, we will do it. So now, please note it. Changes will be implemented in execution and will be validated in monitor and control. Monitor and so now your requirement management plan is ready. So the requirement management plan will provide, right? Requirement management plan will provide the traceability structure. So one is a forward traceability. Another one is backward traceability. So what is forward traceability? Project objectives to stakeholder, requirement, then solution. What is backward traceability? Similar, solution, requirements, stakeholder, and project objectives. Project objectives. So every project objectives, each project objectives will be having a set of requirement. Each set of requirement, each requirement will be having set of solution. Those solution is needed or expected or owned by someone else in the project. So this concept, please remember it. Because requirements should come from the stakeholders only. If you have any question, please tell me. Can I go to the next process? Now is this process is clear? Now the plan is ready. Next one is we are going to collect requirements. Collect requirements. So or we will say elicit, analyze, elicit and analyze requirements. So what are the output? There is a two output. What are the output? Two output. One is requirement documentation. Another one is requirement traceability matrix. Requirement documentation and requirement traceability matrix. So there is a two output will prepare it. Two output will prepare it. So first output. Requirement documentation. Requirement documentation. So we will document set of requirements to be executed in the project. Final requirement will be approved by customer. So requirement will be collected, analyzed, prioritized, documented. Documented at the beginning of the project. At the beginning of the project. So where in plan-driven project. In plan-driven project, requirements will be collected, analyzed, prioritized, documented at the beginning of the project. But in Agile project, requirements will be prioritized and documented in product backlog. for each iteration or sprint. Each iteration or sprint, it is a agile project. So please remember, so this is very important information. In plan-driven project, we collect the requirements. In plan-driven project, we collect the requirements at the beginning of the project. At the beginning of the project, and but in change-driven project, every iteration requirements will be analyzed and prioritized. Requirements will be gathered, elicited, analyzed, and prioritized. For each iteration, we will do it. Next. Gathering requirements is the responsibility of product owner or customer in agile project. Please remember, it is very important, right? Product owner as well as customer in agile project, but here business analyst and customer in plan-driven project. So that is the reason we call them as a business analysis plan. We call them as a business requirement management plan is called a business analysis plan. Right. So gathering requirement is a responsibility of product owner and customer in agile project, in business analyst and customer in the plan-driven project. Okay. So what are the requirements we collected? List of requirements. So list of requirements, we will collect business requirement, project related requirement, what are the tools, techniques, methodology, stakeholder requirement, what are the information, benefits, value, compliances, legal, then solution requirement. The solution requirement will be having, solution means product. Solution requirement will be both functional as well as non-functional. Functional and non-functional. Non-functional requirement. Next one is every solution will be having quality. So quality requirements. Then technical specification, technical requirement. The technical requirement is going to be an input for procurement management activities. Technical requirement is an input for procurement management activities. As well as finally, when the project is over, we need to hand over to operation and maintenance. It is called transition requirement. Transition or temporary or readiness requirement. So these are the requirements we are going to collect it. So elicit and collect requirements. Document here. So requirement gathering is a one-time activity in plan-driven project and a continuous activity in agile project. Every iteration, we will do it. Requirements are gathered from stakeholder and the documents. There's two sources. So involve everyone in the process. If you miss a stakeholder, you may miss the requirement. Project phase, a lot of changes. So this is very important. Stakeholder register is very important. At the same time, requirement documentation also very important. So please remember, right? If you miss the stakeholder, you may miss the requirement. The project may face a lot of changes. So these are all we need to identify. So now collect as much as requirements at the beginning, right? Quality, not important. And the quantity is important. Quantity is. So these are all we need to remember for when we collect the requirement, because your entire project, the success or failure depends on requirement gathering only. So if you have any problem in requirement gathering, if you are not involving everyone, or if you have missed the stakeholder, or if you are not doing the processes as required, then you may face a lot of changes in the project. So final requirement will be signed off by the customer. So that is what requirement documentation. Right. So, but in Agile project, we will use user story. So the requirements may include each requirement may include acceptance criteria. Each requirement may include acceptance criteria. Right? As per the acceptance criteria, only the customer may accept. So what is user story? User story, a document used in Agile project. A document used in Agile project to record the requirement. So what are the information? We will do it. It is a very short document, short textual description of each requirement. So what are the information we will document? We will document who's the user, what are the requirements, what are the benefits or motivation, acceptance criteria. So this information will be documented. Acceptance criteria. So this is an example of user story. Right? Who's the user? What is the role? Right? What are the requirements, goal, and what are the benefits or motivation, and what are the acceptance criteria? This information we will document. For every user, like for example, every requirement, we will document this information. So every iteration, we will analyze this user story and we will pick the user story. Those user stories will be documented, will be documented in product backlog. In product. So high level user stories at the top and the low value user story at the bottom. So that is the way high value user story and the so don't forget, in a plan-driven project, we will use the requirement documentation. In change-driven project, we will use the product as user story. We will document. User story, we will use it. Any question about user story? So now look at this picture. So now this one. So this one, the product backlog. Product backlog will be having set up user story. Each user story may represent a feature. Please remember, each user story may represent a feature, maybe for a defect, maybe for technical work, maybe for knowledge acquisition. If you want to do anything in the in Agile project, first you need to create a user story. The user story may represent a feature, may represent a defect, may represent a technical work, as well as knowledge acquisition. If it is a features, we have user stories, use cases, as well as free form text. Anything you can have it. So these user stories will be like a prioritized, analyzed, prioritized, and it will be keep on, like we will change the product backlog. So next one is this also, please remember. So each user story may represent a theme. Each user story may represent a theme, right? Theme means that there is a concept, automation, transportation, right? Or like, for example, accounting, financing. So like that, there is a theme. The epic means a complete product. Epic is a complete product. Maybe software, building, car. It is a epic. Then the car will be having multiple requirements. Those requirements will be documented in user story. User story will be executed through task. This also please remember. Okay, so we'll take a break, 10 minutes break. After the break, we'll continue. See, please remember, understand the concept. If you have any question, please ask me. Don't go away from the system, just log in and go away from the system. Stay, ask question. As I told you that you don't need to study again and again the books, the slides and all, not necessary. Understanding the concept is very important. Okay, take a 10 minutes break. We'll meet. I will start. Any question? You have it? Any question? Any question? If you are not confirming, I cannot go next. So what is the answer? What is the answer? C. T. Right? The project scope is elaborated iteratively, focusing on value delivery through Prioritize backlog items.
Is it T?
No, this is C only. Project scope is elaborated iteratively because in Agile project, you are going to do a progress elaboration, like a step by step. You cannot do the planning for the entire project at the beginning. You will do step by step planning, you will do it. Okay, so now collect requirement processes. We are going to, how do we collect it? Tools and techniques. Tools and techniques. Once again. So first we will go for expert judgment. Next, document analysis. Read all the documents, contracts, agreements, business case, benefits management plan, project charter, right? Collect, analyze all the documents. Next one is we will do data gathering. Next we will do data gathering. Then we have observation and conversation. So what are the data gathering technique we will use? Brainstorming. So benchmarking. Interview. Questionnaire and survey. Focus group interview. Focus group interview. So these are all techniques we will use it. So brainstorming, it is idea generation tool. Idea generation. Benchmarking, the best practices we will take. Interview, confidential information collection. Confidential information. Then this is for mass information. Mass information. Right? Focus group interview, specific information. Right. Next one is Delphi. Right? So Delphi also, but we will use it later. So these are all observation and conversation. So then what else we can do it? We can observation and conversation. It is called job shadowing. It is called job shadowing. What is the meaning? Like you observe the people, how the people are doing the job. Next one is you will conduct a workshop. To conduct a workshop, you need to have a facilitation. So project manager is a facilitator. Have a facilitations. Right. So now, what are the facilitation technique workshop we have it? First one is going to be JAD. What is JAD? Joint application development. Joint application development. Next one is QFD, quality function deployment. Quality function deployment. So the third one is going to be user story development. That is what we have discussed before. User story development. Now, JAD will be used in software development project. Right? So functional consultant and technical consultant functional consultants, technical consultant work together to develop requirements. So QFD used in manufacturing industry. Also known as voice of customer. Voice of customer. So the customer requirement, customer preferences will be documented. Right. User story development used in Agile project. Used in Agile project. So please remember, so these tools actually. Quality function deployment. Quality function deployment. Just I will show you the tool, how they will use it. So they have a house of quality. Based on the house of quality, they will collect it. Please check. So left side customer requirement, on top design requirements, then comparing customer requirement, design requirement, what is the weightage, right? So if it is a strong, positive, negative, right? Strong plus, all those things we will document. Then we will calculate the weighted average. We will calculate technical evaluation. We'll calculate the weighted average. So then based on the highest weightage requirement will be selected. Right side, it is going to be your competitor information will be documented. So this is basically a tool will be used. Any question? So now your workshop details are over. So next we are going to now, we have whatever requirements we have collected. So we need to develop a prototype. From prototyping technique also, we may collect the requirements. So in the prototyping technique, we have wireframe. We have wireframe, storyboarding, right? Web pages, rendering. So these are all your techniques, like in the prototyping techniques. So this is called wireframe. This is called wireframe technique. So rough sketches about your product features. So storyboarding. What is storyboarding? Drawing, like for example, converting the requirements into pictures. That's called storyboarding. Especially which is used in the movie industry or advertisement industry, they will use it. Right. So next one is like, for example, we need to classify the user. Classify the user, we use persona. To classify the user, we use persona. So classification of users. Classification of the users based on psychographic, personal information, and demographic information. Demographic information. So that's called persona. That's called persona. Persona, like when we collect the user stories, right? We need to know who are the users. Like for example, we have millions and millions customers. We cannot go and collect the requirements from everyone. So we need to create a model user. Creating a model user. Creating model user. Right. So what is persona? So this is right model users. So creating a model user and document the like a common traits of the model user, we will do it. So finally, to collect the requirements, we will create logical data model, because here we'll document data requirement to operate the product. Because if the data requirement are not proper also, your product will not work, right? It is called entity relationship diagram. Entity relationship diagram. Because the data is which is going to connect up, right? So in the process interactions, process, function, and the system interactions. Let's say, for example, if you want to operate the smoke detector, like for particular data only it will operate. So we need to capture those data requirement. We will document. That's called logical data model. We will create a database model. We will create it. For example, it's purely IT, like relational database model, in like entity database model, objective relationship data model. So those database model will create it. Now assume that we have collected this many requirements we have collected. So let's say, for example, 2000 requirements we have collected. What we have to discuss, quality is not important, quantity is important first. So first we have collected as much as requirement we collected. So next we are moving to like so this is eliciting requirement. Eliciting requirement. So next we are moving, like how do we analyze the requirement? Analyzing the requirement. Analyze, prioritize, and rank. So those activity we will do. So what are the tools we will use it to analyze, prioritize? First, we will use the decision-making tool. Decision-making, right? So the decision-making tools, what are the tools we will use it? We use, first of all, voting technique. So there is a three type of voting. One is unanimity. What is unanimity? You present all 2000 requirements to the stakeholders, and if a particular requirement may be accepted by everyone, 100% people will be accepting this. That those requirements is called unanimity. Those requirement which is called unanimity voting. Or majority, 50%, more than 50% of the people, they may accept majority. And a plurality. So what is plurality? Like for example, less than 50% of the people, they may accept this requirement, right? So unanimity, it is a must-have requirement. Majority, it is a should-have requirement. Plurality, could-have requirement. Could-have requirement. Voting technique. Or we may go for autocratic. What is autocratic? We may nominate the project manager to take a decision on behalf of the team. Autocratic. Next one. Voting, autocratic. So next one is going to be dictatorship. Next one, dictatorship. Right? So what is dictatorship? The project manager, sometimes the team members will not come to the conclusion. Project manager himself, the business analyst himself, he will finalize it because the time is running. So we need to close the issue today. So dictatorship, voting, autocratic, and a dictatorship. So, or we may go for dot voting. What is dot voting? We provide 5 dots to every stakeholder. We will ask them to place this dots on stakeholder on the requirement. So those 5 dots can be placed on one particular requirement, or it can be distributed to multiple requirements. So it is called multi-voting method. It's called multi-voting method, dot voting. Or you may go for fist of 5. We may go for fist of 5. So what is fist of 5? If I show 5 fingers, I will fully accept this particular requirement. If I close all 5 fingers, I'm not accepting it. In between, there will be discussion is required. Fist of 5 method. Dot voting, fist of 5, right? Or you may go for Roman voting. What is Roman voting? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs neutral, right? Or you may go for Moscow. Or you may go for Moscow. What is Moscow? Must have. Must have. Should have. Could have. Would not have. Would not have requirement. So that is Moscow. Another one is Kano analysis. Kano analysis comparing satisfaction, right? Satisfaction, comparing satisfaction against functionality. Right? So the result is going to be the comparing satisfaction against functionality. The result is going to be the basic essential features. Basic essential features. Or performance features. And excitement features. So those technique, Kano analysis, we will do it. This is called Kano analysis, right? So must have basic, and performance, and as well as excite Kano analysis. Or we may go for paired comparisons. So what is paired comparisons? Comparing two features. Option A, feature A, feature A. Which one is important? Feature A. Feature A and B, which is important? Feature A and C, which is important? Feature A and C, D. That's called paired comparisons. This is called paired comparisons. Okay, paired comparisons. Another one is 100 points. 100 points also similar like a dot voting, multi-voting. Instead of 5 dots, they will give you 100 points. So next one is Delphi technique. Delphi, what is Delphi technique? Whatever requirements we have collected, we will send it to different experts in different part of the world. Right? Different part of the world. This is anonymous method. Right. So Delphi technique, like for example, we will send all the requirements to different experts in different part of the world. We collect the opinion from them. Then again, we will summarize. We will send to different experts in different part of the world until we get the right information. We will continue this process. It will go for several rounds. Why it is anonymous? The people who's involving, the experts who's involving in this process, they don't know each other, right? They cannot influence other people. That's called Delphi techniques. Finally, we have a nominal group technique. Nominal group technique. What is nominal group technique? Final requirement. For example, from 2000, we reduced to 200 now, right? Those 200 requirement, what we do, we divide the people into groups. We give them set of requirement. They will sit and discuss, brainstorm. They will come up with all the conclusions, ideas, and everything. Each group member, they will present this information to everyone. So then finally, based on that, they will do the prioritization, ranking. So the nominal group technique used for ranking. So which is number 1, which is number 2, which is number 3. Clear? So this is what, how do we collect the requirements? So next one is going to be impact mapping, right? Whatever features, like whatever features we are going to develop it. So we do a impact mapping. Impact mapping means like we have a goal, we have an objective. So each objective, what are the deliverables are required? What are the deliverables are required? So those things we will document. That's called impact mapping, right? What is our goal? And why are we doing this? And who can help us achieve this goal? And how can they help us to achieve this goal impact? And what are the deliverables we have it? That's called impact mapping. So next one is then we will decide about the MMF, MVP. So finally, we will be having this information we will be having. So what is that called? First one is MVP. What is MVP? Minimum viable product. The core essential features. Every first iteration or first few iteration, we will work on MVP. It is a core essential feature like a minimum viable product. After that, rest of the iterations will produce MMF, minimum marketable feature. And the group of MMF, which is called MMP, minimum marketable product. And when everything is over, a release, the result of release, which is called MMR, result of release, which is called MMR. Right? Either it is MVP or MMF or MMP or MMR, which is going to give you the minimum business increment. Minimum business increment. Those information will be in slides. Any question? Any question? Any question?
No questions.
No questions. Clear? So
Yes.
please don't forget, when we release MVP, when we release MMF, when we release MMR. It's very, very important. Second. Okay. I'll show you later. So now collect requirement process is over. So out of that process, we have one more output, which is called requirement traceability matrix. Requirement traceability matrix. Requirement documentation we discussed, user story we discussed, requirement traceability matrix. So in requirement traceability matrix, throughout the project, we will use this. Right? So this document we will update. Show you. So each requirement will be having like the business goals, objectives, owner, all those information will be documented. This is called requirement traceability. So please read and understand a requirement traceability matrix. This particular document, we will use it throughout the project. We will use it. So now collect requirement process is over. Collect requirement process over. Next we'll go The next process we will start, define scope process will go. So now collect requirements is over. If you have any question, please tell me. Don't go to any process without understanding the process. Right. So define scope, third process. So what is the purpose of this process? Documenting project scope as well as product scope. Documenting project scope as well as product scope. So both the detailed description of both the scope we will talk about. The output is going to be scope statement. The output is going to be scope statement. So scope statement, document, product scope, project scope, final requirement, final product scope, project scope, final requirement, major deliverables, acceptance criteria, SOW, assumption, assumptions, constraints. So all those information will be documented. Right? That's called scope statement. So in Agile project, what we do, we'll prepare sprint backlog. Is the output of Agile projects. Sprint backlog. Result of sprint planning. So sprint planning is conducted on first day of each iteration. So sprint planning is on 8 hours meeting. 8 hours meeting. Right? 8 hours time boxed meeting. 8 hours time boxed meeting. Sprint planning is on 8 hours time boxed meeting. So who are the people, participants of the sprint planning? Who are the people who will come? So please remember, in Agile, in plan-driven project, define scope will be only one time we will do at the beginning of the project, but here, every iteration we will do it. So who are the people will come? Scrum Master, cross-functional team members, cross-functional team members, product owner. So if it is a hybrid project, project manager, as well as customer, business stakeholders. So those people will participate. Product owner, select the prioritized user story. So user story means requirements. Requirements from product backlog. Product backlog. Product owner select the prioritized user story from product backlog. And team discuss, brainstorm to decide how to do. So this is what will happen in product owner will select the prioritized user story from the product backlog and team discuss and brainstorm to decide how to do, as well as like what are the methods and everything they will decide it. So this is, so basically in the sprint planning meeting it will have. Right. So the result is going to be sprint backlog, and the sprint backlog includes what are the features, what are the goals, because every user story will be having a requirement. Each requirement will be having set of features, right? Goals, objectives, what are the values we are going to decide, develop, and what are the tasks we need to do it. What are the definition of done? Definition of done. DOD. Definition of done. Acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria. Reciprocal agreement. What is a reciprocal agreement? Both the team members and product owner will come to an agreement. Like whatever, we don't ask you anything extra within the sprint. That's what product owner will give a statement. And team members will say, like whatever we have agreed, we will complete it within a sprint. It is a reciprocal agreement. So these all those items will be documented in sprint backlog. Please remember. So every sprint we will so try to understand from this picture. Right. So we have product backlog. So during sprint planning, we will decide the sprint backlog. Sprint backlog. The sprint backlog will be executed. Any question to understand this? Okay, how do we develop this? What are the tools and techniques we will use it? For defined scope process, what are the tools and techniques? So tools and techniques, nothing but, again, expert judgment. Then you will conduct a workshop. It is a facilitation workshop. So during the workshop, we'll do the product analysis. During the workshop, we'll do the product analysis. So what are the techniques will be in product analysis? We will do requirement analysis, product breakdown structure, right? Value engineering, value analysis, system engineering, all those technical aspects, system analysis. What are all requirement? What are all requirement? Right. So requirement analysis, product breakdown structure, value analysis, value engineering, system analysis, system engineering, and finally you will go for a decision making. You go for decision making. So in the decision making, we will do alternative analysis. What are the alternative methods are available, as well as cost benefit analysis, because we need to select the features, like which features are cost benefit, which is more value, cost benefit analysis, as well as we may do like MCDA. What is MCDA? Multi-criteria decision analysis. Multi-criteria decision analysis. So we will compare different criteria. We will compare and see. So multi-criteria decision analysis, we will do it. So now your defined scope process also over. Defined scope process also over. 1 second. So what is the answer?
Option A.
Option A. What is MVP? Minimum viable product. Core essential feature. Core essential feature.
D.
A pencil with eraser and cushion grip. That's called MMR, minimum marketable release, which includes everything. It includes all features. Anything is left out for a pencil? A pencil cushion grip is needed? No. It is a excitement feature. Must have feature, should have feature, could have feature.
D.
Cushion is a
Option D.
option D. A chair without
D.
back.
D.
Yeah. So option D. That's called MVP, minimum viable product. So please study because it's important. So now develop corporate term structure. Those processes around the four processes left out will complete next week. Answer?
Option D.
So during acceptance testing of a deliverable, some senior stakeholders complained that a feature essential to the department was not included. What should the project manager have done to prevent this? Right? It's a preventive action. Consulted lessons learned from the similar projects, prepared a change management plan, analyzed the project charter, prepared a prototype and conduct a product demo with the stakeholder. Option C. Analyze the project charter and develop a scope management plan. Okay. Scope management will control scope creep as well as scope slippages. Anything is missed.
Software should be easy to use and navigate.
So it should be easy to use and navigate. Okay, so we'll close it today. So please study. Actually, you are not studying, I think so. Please study whatever we have completed so far. Study the slides and come back. So next week we will continue with the scope management. Scope and quality we will continue next week. Okay, thank
Sir,
you.
one more request, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can we have a physical class from tomorrow onwards? Because while attending online, we are diverting somewhere.
The problem
So
is
it
I'm
is not
outside
big.
actually. This month end,
Yes,
like
sir.
maybe one more week I will be outside. Then after that I will come back. I will
Sure,
conduct a
sir.
classroom training.
Definitely. Just wanted to
because-
convey us to.
No, I will come. Because I have some personal issues. That's the reason. September 1st onwards, I will start the physical classes.
Sure, sure, sure. Thanks
Huh?
for answering.
I'm sorry.
Sure. No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.